Take Walt Disney World, for example, in Florida. It's 43 square miles. That's twice the size of Manhattan. It is truly massive, home to 4 theme parks, and each theme park is really a small city in and unto itself. And like Andrew said, the street level experience is just one part of a much larger system. Because like all cities, there is an incredible amount of unseen infrastructure. We have our own power plants, water plants, our own transportation systems. But unlike all cities, ours are home to mystical jungles, old western towns, and of course, fairy tale castles. Creating these city-scale experiences is a massive design challenge. But today, I want to show you something we've built that's even more massive. I want to take you behind the scenes to show you what it takes to build a galaxy. It has been an absolute dream getting to work on the physical expression of one of our most epic stories, Star Wars. And an epic story requires an epic backdrop. Star Wars Galaxy's Edge is a fully immersive land built with a level of detail that rivals any set ever created for the movies. It's the largest single-themed land expansion in the history of Disney parks, and creatively, technically, and logistically, it's one of the most ambitious projects in our history. It's a place where a guest can find their own place in the galaxy, where scoundrels and bounty hunters and the ne'er-do-well of the galaxy plot to trade or resupply. It's a remote trading port called Black Spire Outpost that features 2 massive show boxes that enclose a whole lot of Disney magic and incredible engineering, as well as 5 restaurants and 7 shops. And because, Star Wars, it's also home to 7 amazing spaceships. The largest of these is over 100 foot long. It's the Millennium Falcon, which guests board on a wild, interactive smuggling adventure. And to put that scale in perspective, if it were placed on its end, it would actually be taller than Sleeping Beauty's castle. And it's big because the whole experience is big, as was the team behind designing it. They were drawn from over 140 different disciplines from all around the globe. Concept artists, designers, facility architects, landscape architects, interior designers, show set designers, graphic designers, media designers, ride engineers, software developers, as well as a host of amazing trade partners. A team of massive talent working across different disciplines and time zones, which is why coordinating all of their efforts was a Herculean task, and one that was made possible by BIM. In fact, the final experience that our guests enjoy today is the product of over 600 different models, all integrated into a single source encompassing design, fabrication, and installation. Now, to give you a sense of this complexity, let's take a journey into one specific portion within the Millennium Falcon. Fans have dreamed, many of them for decades, of finally getting to step aboard the most iconic ship in movie history, which means delivering on how they've always imagined it. And one of the most recognizable locations on board the ship is the chess room. And our version needed to be indistinguishable from the films. Like this interior set, which was just created at Pinewood Studios in London for the latest installment of the Skywalker saga. The film production created a set of drawings to build from, so surely we could just use those for our attraction. Well, Actually, no, right? Theirs was purpose-built for filming to a very different set of requirements. Our version needed to be engineered to withstand the test of time, as well as the enthusiasm of our guests. So, though we were incredibly lucky to have a set of drawings and access to the original production designer, we had to create our chess room from scratch. There were two major constraints that drove our design: the structure and the interface with a ride system. The site footprint drove the overall shape of our building, and the ride system occupied a big portion of that space. This left only odd-shaped voids into which all of our themed show set spaces had to be located. It's really sort of like building a ship in a bottle. The design needed to be coordinated with incredibly small tolerances. Why? Well, because an inch here and an inch there is the difference between a snug fit and a HVAC duct running right through the middle of your holographic chess table. And our show set and ride and facility teams were all in different locations, working on their respective designs concurrently. Here, actually, we see the void into which the chess room was built. It's wildly irregular in shape, with a delightful steel column running right through the middle of it. Our show set team worked to squeeze the chess room in between that structural steel, the walls, all while maintaining that connection to the ride load station. Coordinating electrical, AV, fire protection, and show control systems, that was an iterative process with the design evolving over time as each discipline put more detail into the model. And as all designs change, this one was no different. So midway through the design process, the envelope of the ride vehicle increased. But because the ride team drew that envelope in the model, we discovered it very quickly in a routine clash detection, and we were able to redesign the ductwork long before we ever got to site. One of the other side effects of squeezing rooms into voids is that none of them are built with 4 right-angle walls. Okay, that's a lie. There's one back-of-house equipment room, but other than that, every other space has like 5 or 6 walls, and many of them are curved. So when you end up plotting these drawings, what you get is this largely incomprehensible mess that becomes very difficult to visualize, yet alone use as a coordination tool. So tumbling around the model became the primary way we were able to clearly articulate to each other what we were actually building and also how we were doing. I used it to track progress in real time, which allowed me to sort of refocus the team on particular issues or make design decisions to react to emergent clashes. I'm a creative director, but I care about construction details just as much as I do the creative vision. And so we push Revit to its limits, just like we push so many tools. And in fact, our projects are often so complex and so unique that we often find ourselves bumping up against the edges of what tools are capable of doing. And indeed, we often find ourselves creatively misusing software. And one great example of this is Autodesk Shotgun. You might know it as a tool for tracking media assets, but we found it profoundly useful for managing our entire inventory of props and tracking our supply chain from myriad global sources all the way to the field. But perhaps the most direct benefit of working together in a shared BIM model was velocity. We were able to collapse our sequencing and have multiple disciplines all working in parallel, often at different levels of detail, on things that would otherwise need to happen sequentially. And in the end, what this allowed us to do is deliver one of the most technically challenging attractions we've ever created months ahead of our target turnover date, which, most importantly, meant that we were able to open earlier than we had originally planned. Because as excited as our fans have been to finally get to step into a galaxy far, far away, we have been equally excited to share it with them. And the complexity of the design and all of the advanced tools we use to build it are just that, tools. These are things that should be totally invisible to our guests. What we hope they do see is a place where they feel welcome to imagine, to create, and to play. I mean, this is why we created Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. To be a place where parents can share the stories they loved as children with their children, where guests can imagine themselves to be who they've always wanted to be, where a daughter can see her father as the child he once was, and where they can leave feeling like the Force is with them. Thank you.